Adding mixed numbers. So remember that a mixed number is a whole number portion plus a fractional portion. So when we see 2 1/4 plus 1 5/8, we can think of the 2 1/4 as 2 plus 1/4 plus the 1 5/8 we can think of as a 1 plus 5/8. Now this is all addition, so we can use the commutative property of addition to rearrange it. So we're going to write the whole numbers first. 2 plus 1 plus, now we'll write the fractions. 1/4 plus 5/8. Now the 2 plus 1 is just 3 plus. But the fractions, we need a common denominator. So the first thing we ask ourselves is we look at the smaller denominator, 4, and say, can we multiply 4 by anything to get 8? And we can. 4 times 2 is 8. Well, whatever we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator. So we have to multiply the numerator by 2 as well. And this gives us a new problem. 2, because 1 times 2 is 2, and then 4 times 2 is 8, plus our 5/8. Well, 2/8 plus 5/8 is 7/8. And 3 plus 7/8 is just the mixed number, 3 and 7/8. Alright, so now if we look at the second one, we can see that really we're just adding the whole numbers and adding the fractions. So above in the first problem, when we rewrote everything, we don't really need to do that. We can just say 3 plus 4 is 7. Now the fractions, we want to add those, so 5/6 plus 7/9. In order to add those two fractions, we're going to have a common denominator. So we need the first multiple of 6 and 9. So if we count by 6's, we get 6, and then 12, and then 6 more is 18. Well, if we count by 9's, the first one would be 9, and then the second one would be 18. So 18 is the first multiple of 6 and 9. So now we go, 6 times what is 18? Well, it's 1, 2, 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. So when we go 5 times 3 is 15, and 6 times 3 is 18. Plus. Now 9 times 2 is 18. And whatever we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator. So 7 times 2 is 14. And 9 times 2 is 18. And now we're ready to add these together. So we'd say 15 plus 14 is 29. And that's over our common denominator of 18. So we get 7 plus 29 over 18. But 29 over 18, that's improper. It's improper because the denominator is larger than the numerator. So really what we have is 7 plus. Now remember that the denominator is telling us that each whole has to be divided into 18 pieces. So we could take the 29/18 and rewrite that as 18/18 plus 11/11. 18ths. And let's just make sure. So here we have 18 18ths, and here we have 11 18ths. So if we add them back together, 18 plus 11, we'd get 29. So that's 29 18ths. And this 18 18ths is really just one whole. So we have 7 plus 1 plus 11 over 18. And now we just add our whole numbers. So 7 plus 1 is 8, and 11 18ths. Alright, so our next one, down here, we notice that we have negative 1 and 5/8 plus negative 2 and 9/10. Now we do want to remember that the negative applies to both the whole number portion, so in the first one it applies to the 1, and the fraction portion, 5/8. So really what we're going to do is we're going to add the magnitudes of these two numbers, and then we're going to keep the common sign. So we really have negative 1 plus negative 2 is negative 3. And now we want to add these fractions. So we've got 5/8 plus 9/10. And we want the first multiple of 8 and 10. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh, 80. But there's one that's smaller than that. If we count by 8s, we get 8, and 8 more is 16, and 8 more is 24, and 8 more is 32, and 8 more is 40. Well, 40 is a multiple of 8, and it's also a multiple of 10. So 8 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. And then 10 times 4 is 40. And whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So that's going to give me 5 times 5 is 25, over 8 times 5 is 40, plus 9 times 4 is 36, over 10 times 4 is 40. We know our common denominator is 40. So now we have to add 25 plus 36, and you can do that off to the side. 25 plus 36. So we'd say 5 plus 6 is 11. So we keep the 1, carry the 10. And then 1 plus 2 is 3, and 3 plus 3 is 6. So we get 61 over 40. So it's negative 3 and 61 over 40, but this 61 over 40 is improper. So we're going to rewrite that as 40, let's see here, 40 is our denominator, so we could have 40 40ths plus, and then what I do is I look at it and I say, okay, I've got 40 40ths here. I'm trying to get to 61 40ths, so how many more 40ths do I need? And I need 21 more. So 40 40ths is one whole, and then I've got my fraction portion, 21 40ths. So it's really a negative 3 plus 1 and 21 40ths. But remember, the fraction portion's negative as well. So when we combine, we get negative 4 and 21 over 40.